Well, make that another playoff game that you have to pay for now. But oddly enough, I'm actually okay with this one. Welcome everybody to JG9 News, where we talk all things NFL all the time. I'm Jared Garrett, and I'm representing the 904 from the 602, and today we are talking about the breaking news that just came out. It was just announced that Amazon Prime is going to get a playoff game during the 2024-25 season for the first time ever. Amazon, the rights holder to Thursday Night Football for the past two seasons. Last season, or this past postseason, I should say, the Dolphins-Chiefs game was held on Peacock. That was the first ever streaming exclusive playoff game. I did a video on how much of a disaster that one was. Go check that out if you haven't already. And it wasn't just because of the picture quality and the buffering, because personally, I had no issues with that. But then again, I have super fast internet. It was more the fact that they were stretched way too thin and the quality of the production was an absolute joke. But Amazon Prime getting a playoff game starting next season, you figure it's going to be a wildcard game. And oddly enough, I'm okay with this one. I bashed the NFL for the Peacock thing. I said the Peacock thing was a terrible move. We're heading in a terrible direction. And I thought it was one of the worst things that Roger Goodell has done as commissioner in the last half decade. Having said that, though, I don't have a problem with Amazon Prime getting the game. Number one, 31 million people in the country have Peacock. That's less than 10% of the country. 167 million people in the United States have Prime. Prime, for many people, is an essential service. They do way more than just streaming football games. They are a shopping platform. Everyone has Prime at this point. Most people have Prime at this point. The vast majority of Americans have Prime at this point. More Americans have Prime than cable. This is no different. It's actually more eyeballs than if the NFL were to put a playoff game as a cable exclusive like on ESPN, or like other leagues like the NBA putting games on ESPN or TNT. Number two, Amazon's got one game. They are sending one crew to do a game. They are sending their number one crew. NBC was stretched way too thin. It wasn't just that you had a Peacock game. You had two other games on NBC. NBC hadn't done 3 games before in a week. They don't have the capability to do that. That's why you had Mike Tirico doing back-to-back games on separate days. They don't have the capability on the crew to do that. That's why it looks so amateurish. Amazon, they're sending their number one crew that's done games the entire season every single week. On top of that, Amazon already has the rights to show NFL games. If you're an NFL fan, you already have Prime to watch Thursday Night Football. So it makes sense to give them the chance to do a playoff game like every other company that has the rights to an entire season package. Peacock, if you're an NFL fan, you might not have Peacock. You might have to pay out the wazoo for Peacock, because Peacock only showed one game this season, and that was the Chargers-Bills game late in the year on Saturday night that no one really cared about because the Chargers were completely out of it. They were on an interim head coach by that point. Prime, if you're an NFL fan, you probably have that already. Peacock, not so much. On top of that, with Amazon Prime, the picture quality is great. There is no buffering. I've never had an issue in 2 years using Amazon Prime. Peacock, people have had issues using Peacock. We saw that during the playoff game. We saw that during the Chargers-Bills game earlier in the season. It was not good. It was just not good. The picture quality, not very good. On top of that, Prime has alternate broadcasts that can be used, which I always look forward to. Next-gen stats broadcasts, that could be interesting. God help us if they do a Dude Perfect wildcard broadcast. I will lose my mind if that happens, but you could see that happening. Peacock, there was really no innovation whatsoever. On top of that, the best-kept secret in the NFL right now, you don't have to pay for Prime. You don't have to pay for Prime. The game streams on Twitch for free anyways. So you don't have to watch Thursday Night Football on Prime. You don't have to pay for Prime. You can watch it on Twitch. If they do that here, there's no issue. Plus, on top of that, I guarantee that more people have Prime than NFL Network. They show games there, and there aren't any issues there. I don't have a problem with Amazon Prime getting games. I don't have a problem with them getting a playoff game. Again, they have the rights to Thursday Night Football as it is. It makes sense. I figured they were going to head in this direction. I had a feeling that Prime was going to get a playoff game for the 2024-25 playoffs, and this is no real surprise to me. And unlike Peacock, I have no problem with this, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens when the playoff schedule gets announced next year, who's going to play in the game, and we'll see how Amazon Prime does. But if they do as good of a job as they've done all season, the past 2 years from a production quality standpoint, we should be in pretty good hands. I know they had a few hiccups. Not crazy about Al Michaels anymore. Carissa Thompson, obviously a terrible pregame host. She should be blackballed from the NFL for admitting to lying about reports. I'm not crazy about the on-air talent. Production quality, though, camera quality, usually very, very high. Amazon knows what they're doing. and I think they'll do a good job with this playoff game. I have more faith in them than I do Peacock. Not that that's saying a lot. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you like the fact that Amazon Prime is getting a playoff game? Are you surprised by this? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And that's going to do it for this episode of JJ9 News. Be sure you like and subscribe. It helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out my main channel, JRGare9, where we talk all things NFL history all the time. Until next time, this is JRGare9 signing off. And as always, go Jags.